Hello hobby farmers, I'm Bevan Cohen from Small House Farm, and today I'd like to talk to you about nettles. Now you may be familiar with stinging nettles, but you may not know just how beneficial this herb can be. Now the very first thing that we're going to need when we go out to harvest our nettles, of course, is a pair of gloves. If you're familiar with stinging nettles, you know it's called stinging nettles because of that itchy burn that's going to leave on our skin when we rub up against the plant. This is due to these small trichomes along the stems and the underside of the leaves. These small hairs, and on the tips of these hairs, if we could see them under a microscope, we'd be able to see that they have a small sphere of histamines and formic acid. Now this is the plant's natural defense mechanism. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's what's going to cause us this itchy, rashy burn. So we're going to want to make sure we're wearing long sleeves, long pants, and a pair of gloves. Now let's go out here and I'll show you how to identify our stinging nettles plants. Alright, so what we're going to find is that stinging nettles tend to live in places with a little bit more of a moist soil. You'll often find it along the edges of rivers and creeks or in low-lying forests. You'll also notice the nettles tend to live as an understory plant, under trees typically. You're not as likely to find nettles out in an open field as you are along the edges of woods where they have a little bit of coverage from the taller trees above. Another way to identify our nettles once we get to this plant is you can see the small hairs here along the stem that I talked about and the underside of the leaf. We'll also notice that the leaves are opposite of each other, opposite as opposed to alternating. This is an important identification key here because there's a similar plant out in the woods known as wood nettles, which is also a useful plant but a different species. And that plant, wood nettles, has alternating leaves, whereas the stinging nettles that we're looking for today, opposite leaves. So I can see the stinging hairs, I can see the opposite leaves. This is our plant right here. So we've identified our plant, and if you've rubbed up against it, you've already identified it, right? Because it's left you with a little bit of a burn for your troubles. But why are we so interested in harvesting this plant? Well, let me tell you. First and foremost, this is a delicious and nutritious edible green, perfect for springtime. These young leaves can be harvested, they can be cooked, steamed, added to soups. Once we heat or dry the nettles, it dissipates the formic acid that causes that burn, makes it totally safe to consume, and it is absolutely delicious and nutritious. Very high in minerals, particularly iron, actually. So it's great for folks that maybe have a low iron or just looking to add some more B vitamins to your diet. We can also dry these leaves. They make a delicious tea, a nourishing tea that we can enjoy all winter long. If we're looking to harvest these herbs for herbal medicine, perhaps, nettles is the plant that we're going to want, right? We could take these leaves, infuse them in oil, and make a topical salve that is one of the best things for arthritis, inflammation, joint pain. You know, just rubbing the nettles on your skin actually opens up the capillaries, increases blood flow, fantastic for inflammation. Most folks don't want to rub raw nettles on their skin, so we can make it into an herbal salve that's going to have just the same effects medicinally, but without that itchy burn. All right, let's go ahead, harvest some of these up. Very, very simple stuff. We just want to, again, wearing gloves, find our plant, and we can cut these guys right down low near the ground. Beautiful thing about this plant is it spreads through underground rhizomes, right? So we could cut these plants down and they're going to grow right back up again. We've been harvesting nettles out of this particular patch right here in this section of the woods for years, right? Cut it down, grows right back again. Now we can come, like I said, and cut these multiple times throughout the season, but it's very important that we harvest our nettles before they flower. Once these plants begin to flower, the chemical structure of the plant will actually change a little bit. They'll start to form little calcium crystals on the leaves here, very small, microscopic ones, but enough that they're not really safe to consume. It'll definitely not be good for your kidneys and that sort of thing to ingest. So it's very important that we harvest our nettles before they flower. So we're just going to gather them up. I'll take an old bed sheet like you can see here. I'll toss them right on there. That makes it really easy for me just to bundle these up, throw them in the back of the truck or whatever, so I don't have to worry about touching them or anything. I'll take them home to the homestead. We're going to lay them out on screens to let them dry. Maybe set a fan up if it's humid, you know. Let them dry real nice, and then we can strip them. At this point, since they're dry, we don't have to worry about the sting anymore. We can strip those leaves right off those stems, package them away, and we can enjoy this delicious and wonderful herb all winter long. And it's just that simple to take what some people may consider to be a pesky weed and turn it into a useful and beneficial herb right here on our homesteads. All right, that's it for me today. Happy farming.